Okay, so we move to the next topic, and we are going to give an update on the initiative of electronic product information, which is progressing, and we are now about to start a pilot phase where we are going to start piloting the um, the business tool that has been developed. And we have Elizabeth Scanlon with us, who is going to give us an update on where we are. This is remains a priority for us, but remains a priority for many stakeholders. Elizabeth is the product owner for ePI and has been leading within the agency the progress of this initiative. So thank you, Elizabeth, to be with us.
Thanks very much, Juan. Thank you very much for the opportunity to come and update you. As Juan mentioned, I'm the product owner. Juan is the business owner for this project. Next slide, please, Jenny. So just to show here on the first slide, the situation in the majority of EU regulators at the moment on the left side, where the product information, by this I mean the summary of product characteristics for healthcare professionals and the package leaflet for patients and the labeling, is provided by the majority of European regulators in a PDF format, and patients receive the package leaflet as a paper leaflet inside in the medicines box. Now, of course, in recent years, this information has been started to become available in electronic formats. For example, in the EU, the Spanish agency provides an electronic product information, and many information providers, pharmaceutical industry associations and so on, provide the information electronically, which means that healthcare professionals and patients can also get it on tablets, phones, and other devices, in addition to having the paper version. However, all of these actors providing the information today are doing it using their own standards, in their own way, their own methods, their own platforms. So there's a lot of different activity going on there. Next slide, please. So our vision in the European Medicines Regulatory Network is that there would be a common standard, a common technical electronic standard that would be used by the regulators across the EU to provide product information. Why have a common standard? Well, having a common standard across the EU would allow the information on medicines to flow across borders more easily. This could have many applications, supporting patients and consumers as they travel across countries, supporting regulators, collaborating and supporting process efficiencies across the network, and ensuring that EU citizens have equal access to the information no matter where they are in Europe. So within the project, we established a standard called the EU ePI Common Standard. And in 2021, this standard was adopted by the Medicines Regulatory Network. So the regulators, the EU regulators, have said that they will use this standard and they will comply with the standard going forward to create electronic product information. And just some technical information, it is based, the EU ePI Common Standard is based on an international standard called FHIR, which is an open standard developed by the HL7 Standards Development Organization. All the information on FHIR is freely, openly available, and it's a standard that's dedicated for healthcare resources. So next slide, please. So much as we had this milestone in 2021 where we have the standard adopted, of course, no benefits of a standard is going to be realized until it's actually applied. So to this end, we are starting now with a pilot initiative, and right now, and now towards in the second half of this year, we are piloting creating ePI, so creating electronic product information that will comply with this harmonized common standard. And we're going to do it for a small number of centralized and national procedures. And EMA is involved, but also we're involving agencies from the Netherlands, Spain, Denmark, and Sweden are also taking part in this pilot. And the ePI will be created via a portal. So Juan referenced that we have created a tool, we have developed a tool that helps companies to generate and create the ePI. You can see this portal on the right-hand side. It's called the PLM portal. It is a portal for applicants. So this portal is for companies. And companies already use this portal for other activities with their application, like electronic application form. And we have developed an ePI tool to put into this same portal as well. So The pilot involves a small number of procedures. Companies will create the EPI during the regulatory procedure, and then at the end of the procedure, the EPI will be published into a repository, and this repository will be publicly available. That means that developers, third parties, people developing apps, researchers, and so on, will have that information available in electronic format via API, which is a technical interface where machines can come and take this data. And the purpose of the pilot is to test our portal and to test our draft business process, to test our guidance, and to see how well we could fit ePI into the regulatory procedures in the future. Next slide, please. So what's driving this, and what's the real reason behind this, and what are the benefits that we expect to see from EPI? Well, one of the key benefits is that we expect EPI to support, not to solve every challenge, but to support some of the challenges that are faced, that patients and consumers face today with health literacy. So health literacy is, of course, a term which, is used a lot and has very, very many different definitions and can be defined in a lot of different ways. But ultimately, when you look at all the different definitions of health literacy, you see, the same sort of verbs or similar verbs coming up in every definition. It's about finding the information, accessing the information, understanding the information, and using the information for your own healthcare. And EPI can support with these activities. So here are some of the use cases that really drive us and motivate us in this project. When in the future this information is available, across the EU in a common electronic format, this makes things such as patient apps, where patients can have all the information about their medicine on an app, much more easy to develop. And of course, once the patient has the information in an additional format, in a format they may prefer, such as using their phone and so on, it's easier to get from there into other formats, such as authorized video. So it makes it much easier for the patient to access authorized videos, for example, about how to take their medicine, which then promotes understanding, because, of course, as we know, some consumers would prefer to receive the information in video, some would prefer to receive in text, and so on. So we can support health literacy by making the information available in these different formats. Of course, one of the use cases I think that's close to everybody's mind in these days is regarding rapid update when medicines are rolled out quickly. And of course, we've just come out of a pandemic situation where, we had a real example of this. And having the information available electronically, again, makes it easier to disseminate up-to-date information more rapidly and via different methods, such as, for example, codes linking to different languages of the package leaflet of medicines. And then there's the simple fact that the electronic formats will make search much easier in the future. So searching through information, which so many patients and consumers have challenges with, and finding the information that's particularly relevant to them at the point when they're looking for it, will be made easier by having the information in electronic format. So just a couple of examples here, like a patient is planning a pregnancy or has a certain intolerance. It will be easier to get the information, perhaps from several different package leaflets, through searches of the electronic information. And of course, one of the most important use cases is that the current method of providing information does not suit all patients, all consumers. Patients and consumers with print impairments may prefer to receive the information with larger font, using their digital assistants, or having the information read aloud, or so on. And again, the electronic format supports this. Next slide, please. And not to say that there aren't benefits in addition for the regulators, for the companies, for the authorities. There are certainly efficiencies, administrative efficiencies that can be achieved in future by having the information electronic, doing updates, updating multiple different PIs at the same time, signal detection, searching existing product information to see if a side effect is already there or if it is indeed a new signal. So there are many use cases in the business, but of course improving the business and creating administrative efficiencies ultimately benefits everybody because the system becomes more efficient, and so ultimately obviously public health is benefited. And I know that, of course, one of the use cases that's close to everyone's mind these days is management of shortages. Again, ePI could have a supporting role here. Managing shortages is, of course, done at the member state level by importing medicines from other countries. But there is the problem that the medicine is imported, particularly into small markets, with package leaflet not in the language of the member state. So how to provide the information to the patients in that member state in their language. Having the information electronically enables a use case where the information could be linked to the box and then provided to the patient in their local language. Again, all the use cases, ultimately, there could be some contribution there to ePI to support these. So I think this is the end of my slides. I mean, of course, we're still on the first step of this journey, but or maybe not the first step, but we're still, in the beginning phases of the journey with the piloting. But these are, I think, the use cases that motivate us, and we look forward to continuing to update you.